It's Friday, February 22nd, Saturday, February 23rd, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. Go shopping right now as we speak at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Insuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Insuho banner, and subscribe today. It's the final Friday of the month, so that means it's time once again for the SOR Paranormal Round Table, where we take the night to chill, relax, and talk about the month that was in the weird and strange. Hard to believe we're almost 2 months into 2019 right now, but we will get into everything from UFOs to ghosts, as we are joined tonight by Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal, Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio, Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, and you heard her last night. She's back again, Chant Hannah from UFO News Network. We welcome the panel into the SOR Paranormal Round Table. How are you?
Dave.
Hey, everybody. So happy
to have
be
you
here.
with us. Good to have you all with us tonight. Now, we're going to start off on some of the weird and strange topics that we have gone through in the month of February, and we're going to do it fast, we're going to do it hard, because that's the way we do it around here, and it's always time for a lot of fun on this show. And I want to start off with Flat Earth right off the bat, everyone. Now, everybody that is listening is going to be rolling their eyes, saying, what the heck are we doing that for? Yeah. But you know what? I'm not going to get into the topic of Flat Earth, because I think for the most part, the majority of us out there just roll our eyes and think it's absolutely ridiculous. But what I do want to get into is the anger of it all. And Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, we're going to start with you on this one, because I don't know if you have noticed, or if you've even done a Flat Earth show. I don't think you would. Your show is more intelligent than mine. But nonetheless.
One singular sensation.
Okay. But have you noticed how angry that some of your audience members get the minute you promote time to this absurd topic?
Yeah, there's a small fraction of people out there that get very angry by it, and I get it, because it's not for most people it seems like a waste of time, because they've come to grips with the shape of the earth and it's not flat. So they feel you're wasting their time. So yeah, there's a small fraction of people out there who get very angry by it, but I had to do it once, and, well, there's a reason it's only been once, so.
Well, I've only done one twice, and the first time I did a Flat Earth show, I had a couple people on Twitter, I think literally about 10 or 12 people, actually unfollow me because I was giving Flat Earth the opportunity to speak. And I'll be honest, it wasn't the best of shows that we did. I'm still not convinced that the Earth is flat. I don't believe that for a second. I believe there is more than an abundance of proof to show that it isn't flat. But, Rich, I want to get you in here. Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio. In regards to the flat Earth, the anger that people have, is it justified, considering we as hosts of the alternative and the abnormal have to delve into these topics? This is what our shows are all about.
It's justified because the proof is ridiculous. There's math, that goes into this science that can prove the Earth is round. I don't believe the Earth is flat. I believe the Earth is, I don't know. Some of the things that I see, Dave, and this is why people get mad. I think people get mad because they did the research and they're confused too on some of the things. But I believe it's round. I just think it's bigger than what we're told. And I don't know what that would mean, but why they would hide that. Maybe because there's more land, which they can hide all their secrets on, or who knows what, whatever conspiracy you want to come up with. But people really believe the Earth is round because satellites, the GPS, you can do tests and see that the Earth is, it's curved. So I can see that. We're brought up that way. But something is kind of off about the Earth. And I don't know what it is. I've been talking about Flat Earth a little bit more than I ever have. Because I found out the more research I'm doing, I'm questioning some things that don't follow the math or the science. And I don't know why that is. But, I could see the justification for being mad, because I used to get mad all the time, but now I'm more open-minded. I'm not saying it's flat, just saying something's wrong. But okay. Now I heard the moon is flat. Did you hear this one? So, It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. So that made me mad. So I'm back into that mode. Come on. Let's talk about something that we know is not flat. You know what I mean?
It makes you want to go all Hulk on it. It totally makes you want to go all Hulk on it. Let me tell you something, brother. This is the way it goes, brother. And
hey,
that's just the way it is.
Not flat, brother.
Yes. Just so you know, for the newcomers on our Paranormal Roundtable, which would be KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and 93.7 FM KZFX in Ridgecrest, California. On the Roundtable with Rich Giordano and everybody, we kind of get into some old school wrestling. So if all of a sudden you hear a Hulk Hogan or an Iron Sheik voice like that, don't be surprised. This is all about fun. It's all about chilling out. Coop, I want to get your opinion here in regards to Flat Earth. Is it something that the audience should be offended about for us who broadcast?
I'm going to take the other side of this and say, yeah. Because, look, research aside, you look at the ones that are advocating for the Flat Earth, and they have a second-grade education. I mean, look at the way they portray it. You see it. They have a plate, and they show a cup of water dripping on the plate. It's second-grade education. It's no. I won't have Flat Earth on S4. I just won't. I will get too no. I'll get too ticked off.
Well, I can understand that. I totally can. I don't think you should unfollow a show or be belligerent about it. I mean, if you don't like the topic, you just don't listen. But there are a lot of people who are listening to these shows, Coop. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. As much as I do not believe for a second that the Earth is flat, some of the arguments that the flat earthers are coming up with do make you think at times.
Thank you.
No, and I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't see unfollowing a show because of the guest. I mean, if that was the case, none of us would have listeners, because we all have a guest a time or two that nobody likes. That just goes with
really.
We've
never had that around here. We've never had that around.
Oh no, never.
Raises my hand and says, "I do it all the time."
Yeah, Malliard, just wait until you get Street Lamp UFO on your show.
Oh God,
security light.
I have my own fair share of people that a lot of people don't like, so it's okay.
Well, let's go over to Chant Hannah here from UFO News Network. Now, welcome back, Chant. It's only been 24 hours since we had you on the air, but in regards to the flat Earth conspiracy and the way people react to that, I realize, like I said, it's a touchy subject with a lot of people, because really it's an argument that the majority of people who are making are using very baseless facts. But in the end, is it a topic that any of us in the alternative should be even discussing, in your opinion?
Flat Earth seems legit. Let's make fun of it. What I really wish the aliens could do is reverse this form of human stupidity. If the flat earthers are really this serious about that possibility, why not take the effort to throw a satellite out there to prove that our bumpy spheroid we're on called planet Earth is really flat?
Well, that could very much be it. That could very much be it. But, I mean, I guess where I'm going with this is just the anger that people have.
Oh, yes, they get very angry. Absolutely. I spent a little bit of time on Facebook. I own quite a few groups. I'm the administrator of many UFO groups. I see these comments by the thousands. And to take it a little bit seriously regarding what you're talking about, what I do is I make sure that none of these posts are allowed in any of the groups. I don't know if you know this, if you actually spend any time in any UFO related groups, but any good UFO group worth its salt will never allow two things. One is a Secure Team 10 posts or Flat Earth posts in their groups. It's just a standard we go by.
Nice.
Well, you know what? That is probably a very intelligent answer that you gave there. Out of all of us.
Also, satellites, you have to get permission to launch into space, I think. You just can't go, right? Isn't that true? Anybody?
I think you could probably do it from Canada just fine, Richie.
Okay.
Oh, yes. There we go. The old Canadian shots from the Americans. Just remember.
Look,
just remember, Duck, you're a Penguins fan. We gave you Sidney Crosby and Mario Lemieux. Just remember that.
The flat earthers are so authoritative, though, when they spout off all this nonsense, and they should be able to handle throwing a satellite out there to prove their point like a boss. It shouldn't be a problem.
They sent the balloon, someone did, some amateur person, I don't remember who, but sent a balloon that went up 110,000 feet, and there was still no curve. How's that possible? Yeah, that was. They didn't have a, what do they call that fisheye lens on this camera. They made sure it wasn't one of those, because most GoPro cameras that go up have a fisheye lens. But why is that? Why is it still flat everywhere you spin? There's video out there. I know I don't believe the Earth is flat, but I think it's bigger than what they're telling us, or something's different. I just haven't figured it out. How am I going to figure it out? I don't have that kind of money, but I wish somebody did. They pulled all their money together. Maybe they could shoot a satellite up there and look back.
Very possible.
I'd agree with you, but I think we'd both be wrong.
I know.
See, you have the flat earthers. What about the ones that think we're all in a matrix?
Yeah, right. That's
true. With that?
Well,
the red pill or the blue pill?
Right, I was just thinking that. Exactly.
Well, I mean, the Matrix opens up a whole different can of worms, and that's for people who don't know what the Matrix is. That's where we all live in like a hologram type, and none of us really exist. We're just thought forms. But I'm knocking on my desk, and it feels pretty real. So we're going to move on here on the SOR Paranormal Round Table in regards to another big event that happened this past month. And we're going to look over at MUFON here because Philip Leach, the former MUFON member who was kicked out after releasing some very public emails with Jan Harzan and Chase Klotsky, he sent out one final email that basically said that Jan was looking into it, that the idea was that he was going to clean it up, but he did lose his position as state director and field investigator, kicked right out of MUFON for his actions. Now, I don't want this to be a MUFON bashing type scenario here, but it does say something when you are kicking out members who are showing concerns, whether they go public or not. Is Phil a sacrificial lamb in your mind's Chant in regards to this because he did go public, or do you think that MUFON made the right choice because this gentleman allowed private conversations to be put to the people on social media?
That's a really good question, Dave. That 5-page PDF that contained a host of grievances about MUFON, I really am not an authority on that. I have read it. It contains a lot of allegations of events that range from background checks conducted on witnesses who file UFO reports to additional areas of concern. I think probably the best thing I can say about it is I haven't heard anything from Jan Harzan on it.
Yeah, Jan has been suspiciously quiet on this, and I know we have an interview request out for Jan, And I know you have an interview actually lined up with him in the next few weeks, Chant.
I do. It'll be my third one.
You're lucky. You're lucky because he's not giving a lot of people the time of day. Duck, I want to bring you in here on that. Was Phil just a sacrificial lamb in your opinion?
I feel it was very easy to do. It's very easy to clean up the mess by cleaning up the guy saying there's a mess instead of actually cleaning up the mess. It'll be interesting to see if Jan shows up and does the interview. I think it's long overdue. I think I would have been out in front of it saying, we're looking into these matters, and I'll report back as soon as we've conducted our own full investigation and blah, 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 blah. I know nobody wants those answers, but when you don't say anything, it's kind of troubling to me as a front man for different things. You've got to be out there in front of it, and he hasn't been. So,
Duck, you bring up a good point, though, but don't forget, the paranormal media is very weak. It's very, very weak. And the one thing groups like MUFON and the bigger upper echelon have learned is if they just shut up, nobody is going to continue on it because they've never had anybody continue on it. It's always been, it's like the I'm offended crowd. Like every day they're finding something new to be offended. And that's what it's like in the paranormal media. There's nobody, because there's not a lot of true journalists or high quality programming in regards to these subjects. There's not a lot of follow up. And I think what they're thinking is, well, if we wait this out, people will find a new thing to gripe at, and we don't need to worry about it. What are your thoughts, Jim?
I think you might be onto something, but we also speak to their core demographic. So it's a double-edged sword because there's probably dozens, if not hundreds, of MUFON members listening tonight who are hearing this for the 7th, 8th, 9th time wondering, well, why aren't they talking to us? Or because all it would take is him showing up in somebody's show saying, yes, we know. And I think the rest of us would kind of say, okay, at least he was there, but we can't find that clip of audio saying anything, which is the problem. So... because that's the double-edged sword. Because if you want to leverage us when you want to have a new project like a TV show coming out and go and talk everywhere, I think some of us need to pay attention to, well, when we want to ask you questions and you don't answer our questions, why should we go the other direction? Not everybody will, but I've made a note. So,
Rich, your thoughts on it?
If I was MUFON, I wouldn't care. I could care less. And you know why? We're MUFON. Okay? We've been here forever. We earned the respect. You know us. Come on. Well, you know it. Every major company is going to have some sort of riff with their employee once in a while. It's a disgruntled employee. I understand. You know, what was said, what was in the letters could be damaging, but it's not. That's the whole thing. It's not going to matter. They're MUFON. They're the biggest. They think they're the best. I don't think they are, but they do a lot of good. For the amount of people they have, they get some things done, and then other things are passed along. So, that's always been going on. It's expected. We expect it. I expect it. I used to get mad just like the flat earth thing. I used to go, again. Now I'm so tired of it, I don't care. Because they're just going to be around forever. So what are you going to do? You can't beat them. I'm not going to join them, but... my goodness, man, that's what it is. They're so big. They have the government in their pocket. Who we kidding? We know that. They are getting everything they need. And what do they care what we think? They don't care. That's the impression I'm getting by not getting the answer. But they really don't need to care.
And that's the detriment to the UFO society, though. And that's why I say, Rich, that... because there has never been a strong media to call them out on the carpet, the mainstream media is not going to do it. The mainstream doesn't care. I think we've proven that over the years. The mainstream media doesn't care about these topics. However, the paranormal media or the alternative side of the media, which should be focusing on things like this rather than stupid conspiracy theories that don't exist, all right, they are the ones... and we are the ones who need to keep this. Now, Jim Malliard has stated, Rich, that he's on board with keeping the pressure on. I know we're trying to keep the pressure on, but does the audience in your opinion, Rich, respect that, or do they want to say, move on, get to the next topic? You know, we're tired of hearing about this. We're tired of talking about it. Just move on to the next one.
Yeah, because that's what's going on in mainstream media. And that's what they've been conditioned to think, with Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all these places they can go. They're looking for that next fix. They're done and over with it in minutes, in a day. So, I mean, some things have legs, some things that are worthy of talking about, which this is. It is worthy of talking about. But the audience, the general audience, they don't care. You can tell they don't care because it's only us that's complaining. I don't hear people I've never seen before, just, the same people all the time, because we care. But we're such a small percentage, even though we are their core group, it doesn't matter. They only care about the masses that don't know, that will buy into it, that don't look into it, and buy everything they say, just like they do with the mainstream media. It's no different. And there's nobody policing them. They're going to keep, making the mistakes, and they're not going to care. It's been going on for years. It's never going to change. How's it going to change?
Also, I think it's...
Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to mention, I don't know Jan personally, but to be fair, there could be some underlying facts that we're not privy to, that only a few people have the privilege of knowing. And where I'm going with this is that Jan may not have the ability to talk publicly yet. If there is a legal situation happening or some kind of legal claim, I'm not saying there is, but if there is, that could be the reason for the silence.
I'm going to cut you off right there because we got about a minute. But Chant, here's the thing. Other people are. Chase Klutsky has gone on record. Tom Whitmore on this show, the financial officer for MUFON, has gone on record.
Aware of everybody who has actually gone on record, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, for Jan to be doing it, I honestly believe that and I'm not going to put words in Jan's mouth, okay? I think that's the wrong thing to do. But Jan, as the executive director of MUFON, this is where he shows his leadership, stand up and talk to the media. That's his job. That's his role. Whether he chooses to or not, that's his issue. That is completely his issue. But everyone on the panel, hold on. We're going to step out for a break here at the bottom of the hour. It's the SOR Paranormal Round Table. We do this the final Friday of every month, looking at the month that was in the weird, the strange, and the WTF. Jim Malliard, Rich Giordano, Eric Cooper, and Chant Hannah are joining me tonight. We'll be back with more roundtable discussion right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, George and Ori here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Voice is a little hoarse right now, practicing my Iron Sheik impersonation during the break. It was a failure, but nonetheless, we are sitting at the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. And hey, while you're listening in, head to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Click on the shopping banner right there. Click on shop, and you can go pick up yourself a t-shirt, hat, coffee mugs, hoodies, whatever. We appreciate it. That's a good way to support this show by getting some of our swag. And of course, you'd look pretty damn good in it as well. Also, we want to say hello to everyone tonight on our SOR Paranormal Round Table panel. We have Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, Forest Moon Paranormal's Eric Cooper from S4 on Night Dreams Talk Radio. Hey, Gary, how you doing over there? And, of course, we have Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio and his goofettes in the chat room, which are also beautiful. And we have Chant Hannah from UFO News Network on YouTube as well. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Always great to be here.
Thank you for
Now,
having me.
Right before the break, we were talking about the situation with MUFON and Philip Leach right now. And Eric Cooper, we haven't got your response in regards to this. Now, you're a UFO guy. You're an independent source who does a lot of UFO cases. In regards to the way MUFON has handled this, and Jan Harzan, the executive director, has been very quiet on this subject, not giving many interviews or talking publicly about it at all. Is that an issue for you as somebody who has a talk show and is involved in the field of ufology, or do you think he's just doing what he's supposed to be doing right now and trying to circle in the wagons and take care of business internally?
Well, again, like I said during the break, silence speaks volumes, and when your organization is being questioned, silence is the last thing you want to do. You want to, if there's allegations, like you said, at least come out in the public view and say, look, we're investigating the allegations. As soon as we have some answers, we'll come out to you. But just shutting the door and going quiet, no, where's the transparency? Where's the transparency of the allegations that are being thrown at them? And like I said on SOR before, I was a MUFON member back in the 90s and wasn't impressed back then. I'm sure not impressed now, especially with silence and all the letters coming out. It doesn't look good. I guess time will tell.
Well, do you think, though, that with everything that is going on and everything that is kind of happening in this situation, that Jan may be right by keeping quiet right now? Maybe he's trying to deal with this internally. But on the flip side, maybe there should have been a press release saying that, because, like I said in the first half hour, they know that the majority of people who have these types of radio shows out there, and there are thousands online, that they're like, oh, squirrel, there's a new topic right there. And that's the way it is, and that's what they're banking on.
And that's the wrong way to bank, because there's enough voices out here, even if we're small voices. The word spreads, and you don't want negative press. And by being quiet, you're giving negative press the voice. Because now, if you're not coming out with at least at a minimum a press release acknowledging that yes, letters were leaked, we're looking into it. Now you have nothing but people speculating. And that's negative press.
Chant, what's your thoughts?
I think we can conjecture about incomplete information all we want. But if I have to trust that the oldest organization regarding UFO reporting has their own agenda. Agenda can be used as a dirty word sometimes, but I'm not afraid to use it in this sense because it's just realistic to assume that any organization would have an agenda, no matter what is happening. So if Jan, I were to conjecture that Jan has an agenda about keeping quiet on this for a certain margin of time, that's something I'm not privy to. None of us are. So I suppose that we'll find out eventually, one way or the other, either through, a press release, as you guys were mentioning, or through his own words, if he decides to talk about it, or not.
But that is always, down to play devil's advocate with you, that has always been his mantra, is just to shut up and wait for the paranormal media and the alternative media to move on to another subject. Because he knows, and it's a smart thing, he's not a stupid man. He knows the fact that this is a very unattentive type of medium. And why not? He wins every time when that happens. He wins. Not that it should be about that, but he does.
Again, we can, and I think you're asking a relevant question. I'm the kind of person, I'll tell you, if I think your question's stupid, I'll tell you. I think speculation is something people will do whenever there's something that appears to be scandalous that's occurring. It's just going to happen. And maybe Jan has the philosophy that if he feeds, if he reacts, he's feeding into that kind of frenzy of negativity. I don't know, but that's always a possibility. But again, I can't speak authoritatively. I can only just, imagine these possibilities.
Right. Now, let's move on to another topic about MUFON. We're going to stick with MUFON here for a second, because one of the ideas one of the topics that Philip Leach brought in was the point that MUFON happens to have this private team called a SAT team. It used to be called a STAR team when Robert Bigelow was involved in the buying in of MUFON back about a decade ago. But they have this private team. And the example that I have been using on this show is, let's take the movie Signs here for a moment. All right? And let's say that they get a report of somewhere in farmer's land. Let's go to Idaho, just to pick a state. And a farmer has a cornfield there, just like the movie Signs. Finds crop circles, hears strange sounds and running around, maybe sees something in his cornfield while he's investigating, because farmers are pretty brave people. They go wherever. That's their property. And calls up MUFON. MUFON sends in their SAT team. How do you feel, Jim, about the fact that MUFON has this private team that does not disclose certain parts of their investigations, even though they are a public society, they're a 501c3, and they brag about having all of their information right there for the public to read?
I think that's part of the problem with the lack of transparency that we're seeing. I mean, that's the issue. I mean, I don't think there should be, if you're going to be saying that, you can't have a private case file, private team. And then you were mentioning background checks and all this other stuff, and you're like, well, that's kind of an invasion of privacy. Now, if somebody wants to give you that information, that's fine, but I don't think you should be going out and actively hunting that information. So there's a lot of legitimate, serious questions that I still have, and I think, while this may blow over for a lot of people, at some point somebody's going to have to answer for this, because it doesn't make sense to me if you're going to say everything's public and everything's front up and up, for there to be all this secrecy, and I don't know where it goes.
Well, and that's the danger of it, Jim. That's the danger that we're getting into. Cooper, your thoughts on that, because you have an investigative team. You want people to be upfront with what's going on. Shouldn't your group be upfront as well?
And we are. And again, that's where the transparency side comes in. You want to have a SAT team. I equate their SAT team to a military QRT, or a quick response team, and that's kind of how they portray it. And that's actually the next step we're working on, is an actual real-time reporting app, essentially. And I think we're pretty close to having a developer that's working on it. So that basically, Joe Farmer in Idaho has a landed craft. It's got made a crop circle. He reports it on the app. We get a ping. We have a team that's on site within minutes if we have a team that's close to the location. And it should be, if you want this field to move forward, transparency is what's needed to happen. I mean, okay, you have competition with the government because the government's going to want to jump in and get the evidence or technology, whatever the case may be, before anybody else. But it should be public transparency. If you have evidence of other world activity, and you're a public domain, organization like MUFON is, it should be transparent. What are they hiding? Other than the fact that they have government funding, or they're in with the government, and that's why it's being kept secret. But disclose it that way. Don't say you're a public interest organization and then go secretive again. It reminds me of the whole Bigelow issue and selling abductee information to the government. Why? What are they hiding?
I think part of that, Cooper, is, and you bring up a very good point, but from what Philip Leach said in his reports, was the fact that a lot of these cases that they're keeping private, they are keeping so that way they are fresh and new for any television or documentary series that come out, because, of course, they make money off of that. And, MUFON does have to make some money. Let's be honest. You can't have an organization that big without making any type of money. And I'm okay with that. But the idea behind it, if we bring in Chant here for a second on this, the idea behind that is, let's just say, hypothetically, in that cornfield, as we talked about the hypothetical situation earlier, in that cornfield, let's say one of those SAT team members comes in contact with aliens. All right? Just like in the movie Signs. If they are a public interest group on this, Chant, isn't that of public interest to say, or have somebody of reputation like MUFON has, to go public and say, we found extraterrestrials in this investigation. We chased them down. Maybe we didn't get any video footage on it, but our investigator, Joe Smith, went and found this or chased down this extraterrestrial, and this is his report on it. That's what the public is waiting for. That's what MUFON should be doing. And as of right now, Chant, we don't know if that's even happened. Maybe that situation, that hypothetical situation, has happened, and we will never know about it because they're holding on to it tightly with their private team. What's your thoughts?
I think you're asking a good question that is complex, that I don't have I'm not an authority on this subject. Now, what I think you're saying is, does MUFON have a special obligation to inform the public of their activities regarding their special assignment teams, which frequently go on site for special cases for on-site research? I have a lot of feelings about that, but they would be very uninformed. I'm not even connected to MUFON, actually, although I've interviewed many MUFON directors, including the chief investigator of the Southern California chapter of MUFON and a few other investigators as well. I am not a member, and I do that for a reason, so that I can have the ability to actually interview people, which I do on a regular, without being affiliated to any organization.
Rich, what's your thoughts on that?
I just want to say something. As long as I've been doing this now, 16 years, I don't ever really hear anything positive about MUFON. So this, there's a good reason behind it. Maybe that's why Jan doesn't want to come out and say anything, because it's his MO, and there's a reason for it. Why bother? I think it's a total disregard and disrespectful thing to do. Hide the evidence like that, or because what that's telling me is that it's not about the people. They've been talked to. Of course, they have many years ago. It's happened. They get so much data and meet so many people and all the different personalities with all these reports and lights, etc. They are obviously, I think, my opinion, and I think there's evidence for it, that they're working with our government, one way or another. That information's definitely being shared. Now, I think that would be great if they disclosed it. Have they disclosed it? And is there anyone higher than Jan? I don't think there is there?
No. It's just the board.
So why say anything? This has been going on for years. Nothing changes. So, of course, say nothing, because it doesn't really matter. And it's very disrespectful. And I wish we can get some sort of reply. We should.
Well, that definitely comes down to the whole fact here, Rich, that it comes back to what we said, that there has been no media accountability for it because there is no strong media source in the paranormal. There really isn't. There's a couple, but not many, not enough to call them out on the carpet.
Well, that's what I was thinking about while you guys were talking. Is if there was somebody did a show, one of the big shows, if they were interviewing somebody from MUFON and a story came out, I may not find out about it if I don't do a little bit of research or have, or check my check my information that pops up for the day. If you did a show, I may not have heard about it if there was a major story about it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't hit like it does with mainstream media. It doesn't have that. You're right. I don't know if it ever will, but it would have to take another 10 years or 15 years of this kind of, producing, broadcasting, whatever it is we're doing here, that eventually maybe we would be the mainstream media. And I think we're heading in that direction. But it would take a long road to get there.
Well, it comes up to something I said a couple of weeks ago on this show. We had a story that was shared over 600 times, 700 times. All right. It was one of these superfluous type stories that you just roll your eyes at and like, really, that really happened? Yeah, that story was shared 600-700 times off of our SOR Newswire. Our initial press release and story regarding Philip Leach shared 3 times.
God, man.
3 times. So,
and it's huge. It's crazy.
It's a huge story. If you have seen a UFO, if you have had ET contact, this should be everywhere with you. Everywhere. But bringing in Jim Malliard here, Jim, isn't that part of the problem? Is that the public is not doing their part to hold media centers or media shows like yours, mine, or whomever accountable for not going after groups like this?
Well, I was just sitting here thinking, how much MUFON fatigue is there right now? Because there was the issue last year with the state director from my state. And the year before that, there was an issue. And now it's just kind of like, everybody's kind of like, that's MUFON being MUFON, for the lack of a better expression. And I don't think, as much as they hold us accountable about Flat Earth, they should be praising us for talking about this. But that doesn't seem to always be the case. So I don't know where that line is with listeners out there, because I'm too close to not being a listener. I'm a host, so I don't see it that way anymore. But it's going to take time, and I guess the more we keep talking about it, you mentioned earlier, Jan, not, just waiting it out. The longer we just, every month we get together and mention it, it kind of kicks that ball back again. And at some point, you got to show up and talk about it.
You have to. We got about 2 minutes left. Coop, I want to bring you back in here in regards to this. If you had a chance to talk to Jan Harzan one-on-one about this subject, what would you tell him?
That they need to be more accountable. I think the problem lies within the main board, because I know state directors. The state directors are even fed up with the main board. In fact, I know state directors that left MUFON, came back because they were asked to come back, and they run their states the way they want to. They, it's always been, and you hit it on the head. They're not about helping people. They're not about getting to the bottom of it. It seems to be, like I think you said too, Dave, with they make money off movie productions about selling case files, that kind of thing. What's your motive? What's your agenda? And time to be accountable.
Definitely in regards to that. We got about 90 seconds before we're going to go to break here on hour number 1. And Chant, I want to get you in here on this. You're going to be talking to Jan about, whatever MUFON is up to and whatever your interview is going to go with him in the next few weeks. What do you want to ask him? Are you going to tackle him? Well, maybe that's a little bit too violent to say it, but are you going to ask him some serious upfront questions about this?
Dave, I love you. You're so great, just the way you ask questions. Am I going to tackle him? No, I'm not going to tackle him.
What about trip him? Would you trip him?
My foot out. Yeah, right. I'd like to say one thing here, though, before answering your question. That is there's such a thing as a perfect organization. Let's be honest. It's easy to criticize organizations. They have a hierarchy. They have a lot of
very true
people. There's a lot of complexities to them. A lot of people can probably attack what I'm saying very easily and take it out of context. But that's still, let's be realistic. Every organization has its imperfections and challenges that it has to, deal with on a daily. Regarding the questions I had to ask him, those are top secret.
All right, you keep them secret. And on that note, we're gonna step out for a break at the top of the hour here on the SOR Paranormal Round Table. Tonight we are joined by Chant Hannah from UFO News Network on YouTube. Also on YouTube, Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio. How you doing, brother? And we got Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report and from Forest Moon Paranormal and Night Dreams Talk Radio's S4, Eric Cooper. We'll be back with the second hour of the Paranormal Roundtable right after this. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. the SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, Tessa Nicole Thomas is back with Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KCFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to each and every one of you listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Remember, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Cocorofiophobia. Cocorofiophobia is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot while you're listening. Head to our Spaced Out Radio store, click on Shop. We got some great T-shirts that you'd look good in, and we want a picture of that. And, of course, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. It's the final Friday of the month, which means we have the SOR Paranormal Round Table, where I bring in some friends and we discuss the month that was in the weird, the strange, the odd. And tonight we are joined by Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal and the radio show S4. From GUFON Radio, Rich Giordano, and from UFO News Network, we have Chant Hannah. Welcome back, team.
Glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
Perfect. Perfect. I want to switch, because last hour we focused a lot on UFOs and MUFON, but I want to get into cryptids here for a little bit, because we talk a lot about Bigfoot. We talk a lot about Dogman. However, there's so many interesting cryptids out in this world that we really, really don't pay a lot of attention to. It could be shadow people. It could be sea monsters, gargoyles, even the dreaded, even though I'm one with them now, the gnomes. So, Coop, I'm going to bring you in here first and foremost right now. There are a lot of strange sightings that people are having, and we try and take them with a grain of salt. However, these people have had real experiences with real strange creatures they cannot explain. What's a cryptid out there that you think needs more attention than what we are paying to? Maybe on the Bigfoot Dogman level.
I think it should go with Dogman, because I think there's a lot more races out there than, that are canine than just the infamous Dogman. I think there's at least 3 to 4 different potential races. You could even throw what they call hellhounds into the Dogman genre. I think a lot more needs to be looked at. Are some of them wolves or a different hybrid of a wolf? There's a lot more you could explore with that.
Why do you say those? Why are those important to you?
Because other than Bigfoot, that's probably the next largest category. Because so you've got lichens, which are a different category from werewolf. I'm trying to put my information together here. We're having Butch Wachowski on the show next month, so I'll be able to dig more into it. But I think the strangest local case I had was a goat man type creature, and we had a report one time. She was supposed to be putting cameras up. It was a 2-legged goat creature that walked past her window. We never got to check it out because she just wanted to see if she could catch it on camera. But again, I'd have to say stick with canine.
Very interesting. All right, let's move over to Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio. Rich, out of all the cryptids out there that are not getting any attention, what do you like? What do you think we should pay a little bit more attention to? What seems more realistic to you out there?
The Momo. No, I'm kidding. Not the Momo. I just wanted to say Momo. The Jersey Devil was one of those that was a little close to home when I was younger. Growing up back east, we actually heard about that thing because we were so close to Jersey. I don't know, man. I always wanted to know if that was a real thing because people really, since the 1700s, have been talking about the Jersey. Something that has legs like that, no pun intended, might actually be real. What was it, a two-legged, like a sheep-like thing, head with the wings? The Jersey Devil. Man. Yeah. That's There's a very famous story from 1909. I can't remember where it was. But, it was crossing under fences, walls, rooftops. I mean, they saw it in the snow. It doesn't matter what time of year it was. But Pine Barrens, the region of New Jersey, Jersey Devil. I'd like to see that cryptid get a little more attention. They might have a movie for it. But I was also thinking of, and I don't want to steal anybody else's idea because of the wings, like the Mothman. I know they did the movie, back in the 90s, whatever, with Richard Gere. But that is still around, the Mothman, every now and then. I don't know, between those two.
There was just an alleged sightings, I believe, in Indiana or someplace like that.
That's right, yeah. And the bridge collapsed, and people were thinking that winged creature would come in and watch catastrophes before they happen. Or maybe created them. Who knows? Very strange. Yep.
Jim Mallard, we bring you in here from Malliard.com, the website from the Malliard Report. What's your thoughts?
Which just got a redesign today, by the way. So if you haven't been there, go check it out. Which cryptid? I don't have an exact category, but I want to comment on Richie's. I think the Jersey Devil's running for president. No, I'm not political. I'm sorry. It's just a cheap shot. I'm looking like fairies and other ornamentals, really small things that we could easily walk right past. Gnomes, you mentioned earlier, little people, just the little tiny, I don't want to say cute things because most of these aren't, but things that, because, walking around looking for Bigfoot, he's, 8 foot tall? I'm talking about these little things that are a matter of, under 2 foot, the smaller side of things. So that's where my eyes have been recently, for what it's worth.
Chant, how about yourself? Chant?
Yeah, I think it was neat, the reference to John Keel, the ufologist and iconic author who wrote Mothman Prophecies, talking about Mothman. I was really impressed with that story. Loved it. And then also there's a strange story I heard from Tim Beckley, who I'll be interviewing this year. I guess he and another individual wrote a book on the talking mongoose. I don't know if you all have heard about that story.
No, fill us in.
Well, I guess there was a farmhouse owned by a family called the Irvings, and there was a strange creature that was in their home that was talking, and they called him an extra clever mongoose and an earthbound spirit, and he evidently wouldn't shut up. He just talked for a long period of time, and it's a fascinating story. When anybody gets a chance, they should look it up. GEF. The talking mongoose.
That is awesome. Awesome. See, the one that sticks out for me is I would love to learn more about the frogmen of Ohio. I mean, this was the first report that came out was by a couple of police officers who happened to be driving by. So it's not like it was, Joe or Jane Smith driving home from the bar at 3:00 in the morning.
Right. It was the Loveland Frog. Yeah.
Yeah, the Loveland Frogs. I mean, that one absolutely intrigues me. But you know what? I think that really there is something to the whole fairy realm and the gnomes that are out there and these little, gargoyle type creatures. I would love to learn more about that. I mean, if you haven't seen something like that, it's a little weird. And for those who haven't heard my story on it, a couple of years ago, I was geocaching with my son along one of the lake trails we have up here. I got a lake about a mile from my house, mile and a half from my house. And so we decided to go geocaching along the lake. And we walked up this knoll to find the geocache up top. And then we were going down the knoll, and my son was 3 years old at the time. And he was in his stroller because usually I would let him walk, but it was bear time. And if we ran into a bear, I just really didn't want to, slow myself down by having to carry him where I could keep him in his stroller. And long story short, it was just a safety thing. So as we were coming down this knoll, the lake is down below the hill on our left, and about 12, 15 feet in front of us, this little thing comes walking out of the trees on the lakeside. And it takes a 2 or 3, this thing maybe 18 inches, maybe 2 feet tall. And it takes a couple of steps onto the path, stops, sees us, and then takes back off down towards the lake. Didn't see it, go to where it went, after it took off. But it was the most intriguing little thing. And I was like, what the hell is that? I called up Derek White Sky Cloud afterwards. I'm like, Derek, what is this thing? And he said that it's a wood nymph, that these are the fairy type creatures and fairy folk that protect the forests from people who are littering, from people who are trying to harm, Mother Nature, and so on and so forth. I mean, it was the strangest thing, because one of the things that I really recall about that incident was how it was blurry. And, we always hear about, we always see the blurry Bigfoot or the blurry Dogman photos. And we're all like, come on, you can't take a better picture than that. Well, with my own eyes, I actually saw that it was blurry. So I think there is something more to that. I would love to see more investigation and us taking that seriously, along with sea monsters. Sea monsters are just fun. That's just fun stuff right there. But
the Kraken.
That's my Kraken. That is for sure.
The Kraken.
Let's not forget the Loch Ness Monster.
Yes,
Loch
Loch Ness.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
you can have the water.
Yeah, I'm not a water fan. I mean, up here we have the Ogopogo. That is pretty famous. But these sea monsters, I would love to see. As much as I think they are just giant sturgeon, I would love to see something like that. Let's move on topics here. A few years ago, we heard a lot of stories about people running into the Men in Black. Jim, why don't we hear very many stories anymore, do you think, about people actually having encounters with the Men in Black?
That's a good question. I think the cycle, that again, here we are, we're talking about the cycles of what people are talking about in the paranormal. And I think as we don't talk about it as much, so other people don't claim as much. I don't know. I think the Men in Black are still out there. They're probably just busy doing other things for the FBI right now, though.
What do you think they are? Do you think they're human? Do you think they're a human organization like what we see on the movies? Or do you think there is something a little bit more paranormal to them?
I think they are a human organization. Now, I can't separate the two, because I do believe there might be some spiritual connection to it, that people are seeing the same men. But I believe there is a human component too, where people are going around, I don't want to say scaring people, but that's the only way it comes to mind when I think about it. Just trying to intimidate witnesses, for the lack of a better explanation as well.
Yeah, I think that would freak me out, because, they always seem to be driving around in that older blacked out sedan. They all wear black suits with white t-shirt or white dress shirts, black ties, and the black hats. Oh, Coop, your kids are acting up there. Can hear them. You might have to go Hulk Hogan on them, brother. But nonetheless, Coop, let's bring you in here, because you have talked to people who have had Men in Black type experiences. This is something that seems to go around more the UFO side of things. What's your thoughts? Why do you think we're not hearing a lot of Men in Black talk recently?
I think some of them might be threats. So I'm going to make a differential here, because you got two types of Men in Black. Some of them are actual government agents, I would agree with that because, we have had abductees that had the stereotypical vans across the street with communication, obviously being monitored. And they were black suitors. But then you also have I always think about the Maury Island incident from back in the 50s here in Washington that was the first actual documented Men in Black case, happened before Roswell. And, those one, that one I do believe was government as well. But then you also have the ashen, they don't look human. They look just a little bit off. They have the ashen skin. They have the sunglasses. Think of the Blues Brothers. Why do we not hear about them anymore? I think some of it's threats, and again, I agree. I think it's a cycle.
It could be. It could very well be cyclical. And Chant, we see a lot of these cycles happen in the paranormal. I mean, everything seems cyclical, from demons to Men in Black to gray aliens to reptilians to Bigfoot to Dogman. When you look at it and focusing on the Men in Black, do you think that there is a cycle to it because maybe the actions that have happened over the last year with a lot of UFO news coming out, that really there isn't a point for having this government-based group, if that's what you want to call it, bringing their attention to themselves by going to talk to people who've been abducted or had some unusual experiences?
I think.
Go ahead.
Let's go to Chant on that one.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I think there's a few things I want to mention. One is it depends on who's writing a book about it. Like, for example, when Nick Redfern came out with his Men in Black book, people started talking about the Men in Black for, a while. There was a cycle right there. When we didn't have the technology we do now, like the internet, apparently the Men in Black were everywhere. And they would show up in a 1950s car with a really perfectly pressed black suit, looking like they just came out of nowhere and from a quasi-government agency, to have to threaten people and to interrogate them about seemingly meaningless stuff. So there was that cycle there. I think also John Keel may have written about it too. That created a cycle of talk. It also reminds me of the black-eyed kids. The strange thing about these creatures, because they're not really human, and they're not really anything else. They're sort of in-betweeners, if you will. The black-eyed children, those accounts have been from all over the world by people who don't know each other. Also wanted to point out something kind of random and different, the women in black. I think at one time I read a lot about the Men in Black, and the women in black came up as a topic, witches. The author surmised that possibly the Men in Black might have been from the mythology of witches. Now, they figured it was mythology. I happen to think it's a very real phenomenon. They also were talking about how there would be these creatures that would come from extraterrestrial crafts in the sky, and they would start spraying crops. And then people would get sick, and they were black. They were dressed in black gear. So there's all kinds of interesting stories out there that were circulating that would create cycles of mythology. And also, if you were to compile all these creatures together, Men in Black, the black-eyed kids, the witches, they all have a common denominator. And that is you can't really there's no proof. There's no evidence. You can't talk to them. You can't interview them. They're nowhere to be found. In fact, they show up when you least expect it. And then another thing I'd like to mention is the Men in Black and the black-eyed kids apparently have one thing in common at times, and that is when they show up, terrible things happen to these people. And there's a story that circulated around the net for a while where a woman, she went into some kind of a convenience store. She left her kid in the back seat, and then when she came back, she looked in her mirror. There was a black-eyed kid sitting next to her kid. And they have to ask permission, according to the mythology, to get inside your house, in your vehicle, in your life, and supposedly they can hypnotize you, just like the men in black can. And then a series of terrible mishaps and bad luck will follow you after that, and sometimes even death.
Oh, that's just eerie. Absolutely eerie. Rich Giordano, let's bring you in here. We got about 2 minutes. Oh, why not? Because we like you around here, little Richie G.
Aw, thank you.
Let me tell you something, brother. You are liked around here, brother. But nonetheless, we got about 2 minutes here before we got to step out at the bottom of the hour. Men in Black. Why do you think we're not hearing as many cases as we did before about this? Is it just the topic is just passé right now?
It might be. Yeah, a lot of things have changed. The technology, the way they could research us, maybe they could hack into the satellites and find anything they want, the internet, whatever, the same thing. So there may be a lot of different ways they could do it now that they weren't able to before because of technology. I believe if the Men in Black are what they're supposed to be, I believe exactly what Chant said. They're somewhere in between, more robotic, human, alive, being, whatever, mixture of both. Because people have seen them, the skin looks kind of like waxy, they're kind of like almost perfect looking, no blemishes, no expression. And I think they picked that uniform back then because that was professional looking to them. They saw the military, or not military, the FBI or secret government, whatever you want to call it, wearing those suits. So they just wore them to fit in. And that's how they got around. And now that they could be wearing anything, they could have a better disguise. Maybe they found better disguises. Who knows? You could come up and make up anything you want. Nobody really knows. But I like what Chant was saying, that this goes back to, a long time. The witches, the black-eyed children, they could all be intertwined somehow. The watchers, the followers, the seers. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got.
But in regards to the Men in Black, because we got about 40 seconds left here before we go to break, when it comes to the Men in Black, though, do you think that cycle has a lot to do with it? Because, let's face it makes me think that the popularity is what people want. People want their 15 seconds of fame, and maybe we weren't having as many encounters as what we thought.
Maybe. Yeah, that's true. But, a lot of people I don't think a lot of people believe in the Men in Black either. I mean, as much as we'd like to think, there's just not a lot of proof for it. I don't know where you were going. I couldn't quite catch on to what you were just saying.
Well, we'll discuss it when we come back from the break, because I think Cycles is a good place to go next in regards to everything. We have the SOR Paranormal Round Table. It happens the final Friday of every month here on Spaced Out Radio. Tonight we're joined by Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio, from UFO News Network, Chant Hannah, Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, and Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Hi, George and Ori here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Past the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters in the frozen Canadian tundra. And don't forget, you can check out our website, spacedoutradio.com. Do a little shopping. You'd look good in one of our pieces of swag that we got. Hats, hoodies, socks, T-shirts, you name it, we got it for you. You can do all your shopping while you're listening to the show. Good way to support this program by going to the Spaced Out Radio store on our website. Tonight we have the Roundtable going on. It happens the final Friday of every month. We are joined by Eric Cooper from S4 and Forest Moon Paranormal, Chant Hannah from UFO News Network, Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio, and Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report. And we're going to get into cycles now, all right, because the paranormal field, Jim, is very, very cyclical. You know, we have people jumping on the Mandela effect. We got people claiming that everybody and their dog was a demonologist a couple of years ago. We have people who are now flat earthers that have never been flat earthers before. Men in Black have been part of that as well in their sightings. What do you think the next cycle is, my friend, heading into later on here in 2018 or 2019?
I think it's Dogman. I think the momentum has started to shift that way. I think that's probably where we're going to end up. I don't know. I think that'd be my guess. I think we're going to see that, and there's something else, but I haven't figured out what yet. There's got to be. I think there's going to. I mean, you mentioned Slenderman. I think there might be even something newer created by somebody, or I don't want to say somebody, but somebody plants another seed and it just spins out of control probably by late 19, early 20.
Dogman. Haven't we had a Dogman year just a couple of years ago? You think it's up for a revival already?
Yeah. Well, I just do. I don't know.
It reminds me of this story. I think you all remember when George Knapp was reporting on Coast to Coast about Dogman sighting on Skinwalker Ranch. There were two of them, I think, and one of them, or both of them, were wearing trench coats and smoking cigarettes. I don't know if you remember that story. It was kind of interesting. There's been repeated stories about Dogmen at Skinwalker Ranch. But the other cycle I was going to mention that we were talking about during the break is the Slender Man. And a few of us brought that up at the same time, and I think we were right to bring it up because that fictional supernatural character that was brought up, that was a huge mythological cycle that happened for quite a while. It lived itself out to the point where there is actually Slender Man stopping. Unfortunate as it was, two kids got so deeply involved in the cycle psychologically that they took it upon themselves in the name of the Slender Man to try and commit a terrible crime. So there's some interesting cycles out there. What do I think is going to happen for 2019? What I'm going to say is something completely different. I think metamaterials is the next cycle. We all know that Robert Bigelow, owner of Bigelow Aerospace, as George Knapp reported, his company was contracted by the Pentagon to the Defense Department to actually house unknown metals in a safe house them for a 3-year period of time. And that seems to be the big thing right now, is talking about exotic alloys and metamaterials.
I think you're right on that one. I really do. Rich Giordano, what do you think? Is it the metamaterials? Is that the new cycle, or are we going to get into some fancy new cryptid or bring back something old as something new once again?
I'm going to go start with that. Something old, something new. And I think we are heading, because I was thinking of this when you said the Slender Man, because Slender Man will then give way to the humanoids, which have been silent for a while. Probably since 2012 was the last time I've seen something of, interest that would interest me, that looked real. So I think the humanoids are going to make their way back. But in all realistic sense of what's the next thing, it is the metamaterials. Because the Stars Academy is going to bring out their little metal samples that they say they have, which really isn't anything new. We've seen them before, but they've done some interesting tests. So I think that's going to be the next thing. Metamaterials.
Rich, I think your microphone flipped over again on Skype there.
Really?
Just so you know.
Didn't even touch it.
Yeah, and we're getting a lot of rattling in the background. I don't
That's
know
not me.
what that is, but we're getting a lot of rattling in the background, so we're going to tighten that up a little bit.
It did switch over. And
there
not even
you go.
I didn't do it though.
Oh, that's your. That's because you have a haunted house, my friend. You have majorly haunted house, and
is that better?
Yeah, Rich, you know what? I'm going to give you the floor here for a little bit, because you haven't told this story in a long time. You got to tell us, for people who are new to our audience, on KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. You got to tell them your Ouija board story and how it's really affected your haunted house now.
All right, so bear with me. I'll tell this. I'll try to get it done quickly, because there's a lot to it. But I've told the story before. All right, so a few years ago, 2 years ago, I wanted to do something that we don't see. I wanted to make contact with the devil. I wanted to see if you can make a deal with the devil. Hey, I was on hard times. I needed money. A lot of bills were coming up. I could be homeless. So I'm going to try to make a deal with the devil. But in the meantime, I'm going to use a Ouija board, and I'm going to document it, and I'm going to do it 100 times till I get the answer I want, or the evidence I think would prove there's something on the other side that we can make contact with. So, I went through the process, and I did over 127 of them. Okay, so I did more than 100. But somewhere along the way, June of last year, I was going through some boxes, and I found an old cross. Now, the deal with the devil thing didn't work out, okay? So I never found the job I needed to make the money to pay the bills. I didn't go homeless, but I got lucky. My parents helped out. So falling on hard times stinks, and I was looking for a way. I was that desperate. Plus, I wanted to see if there was such a thing as the devil. So I had two things I wanted to prove. And I wanted to record it. So I had 3 cameras, 2 audio devices, the spirit box when I did a few sessions with that at the same time, everything you could think of, right? So come finding I see this cross. Now, I haven't seen this cross since I was 14 years old. I'm 50, right? 51. I think it's a sign, stupid me. So I go, oh my God, you know what this is? I'm falling on hard times again. This is God telling me, trust in me. Put this around your neck, and I will show you the way. That's the thought process that's going through my mind. I didn't hear anybody say anything, but I figured if I'm thinking it, maybe something's giving me this thought, and to have faith in God again. So I said, I'm going to denounce the devil. I denounce you, and I put the cross on Jesus around my neck. Now, I've gotten a lot bigger, so it's a little shorter, and it rests just where your esophagus meets your chest bone, that soft part that if you barely touch it, it can make you choke. So right there where your windpipe would be, right above the chest plate. So that's where the cross barely hung, right by your vocal cords of all things. So that was the Monday before Father's Day in June. The reason I know, because the events that happened next was a weekend from hell, for lack of a better term. So Tuesday, I get Taco Bell. I'm eating Taco Bell. I must have eaten it wrong or something, I'm thinking. It hurt my throat when I swallowed it. I didn't chew it long enough. The next day, I started having these pains. And, oh, by the way, when I put the cross around my neck, I swore I said, you did nothing for me. You're useless. I denounce you. I hope you stay in hell. I was a jerk. I said, God, I'm giving you one last chance to prove to me that you're real and you're in my heart and my soul. And I did the whole good boy thing. Okay, so Wednesday comes around. I'm starting to feel like I get that. Yeah, everybody's had it. You get the feeling you want to throw up, but you can't. But every time you swallow, you take a drink of water, eat something, your gag reflex just goes a little bit enough. It's annoying. You feel like you have to throw up. You stand up. It goes away. And that was going on till Friday night. And Saturday is when all hell literally broke loose. A Friday night, I threw up in the morning. I didn't eat. So I was just feeling weird in that area, my throat. I just felt like maybe my heart is going out because heart attacks run in my family. Men don't live that long. So maybe I'm starting that heart problem process. I don't know, but my left arm is good. I don't feel dizzy, all that stuff. But I did throw up Friday. Now, Saturday, I threw up in the morning again, in the afternoon, still didn't eat. I was just drinking water and having ice pops. Now, I don't think anything of it, but I start thinking, oh my God, it was the taco I ate. It scratched my throat. Maybe it's stuck in there, but how could it stay in there? It would have softened. You're drinking all this water and stuff. It would have softened it. What are you thinking? Well, maybe I scratched my throat on the way down and it got stuck in there. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. It's never happened before. But I'm not thinking, the devil. I'm not thinking anything like that. I'm thinking I'm dying, right? So Saturday all day I threw up. Now, at a certain point, I could put my fingers down my throat because I was forcing myself because the gag reflex never stopped. It was continually going. As soon as I caught my breath, I felt like it was going away, had to throw up again. So I could stick my fingers down my throat, and I had no gag reflex. And, so at that point, Sunday came around. I didn't eat anything now, 2 full days, barely slept. And I feel like I'm having to throw up. So I go to the urgent care thinking I'm having this heart attack, and maybe I'll catch it early enough, I'll live. So they did the little EKG test on me. Everything came back okay. No, but do you want us to call you an ambulance? I said, no, I'm going to go home. She goes, I really think we should get an ambulance. I think you're on the verge of having a heart attack. Said, I'm serious. I know the machine may not catch it. Okay, so let's get the ambulance. I go, no, I can't afford an ambulance. I don't have insurance. I live 1 mile away. Get home. And I couldn't stop. Just constantly, throwing up, and I'm almost passing out. It was awful, just awful. And I dialed 911, and they came and got me, took me to the hospital. Now, it's Father's Day. So, we already celebrated Father's Day a few days ago, so my parents wanted to go gambling all day Sunday. But this is later in the afternoon. I went to the one place at 3. Now it's 6 o'clock, and I'm in the hospital. My parents wound up meeting me there to make this long story even shorter. Meet the doctor. He's asked me all sorts of questions. And I said, couldn't it have been like a taco I ate, And he goes, well, we're going to go take x-rays and find out. He goes, I doubt that. But now at this time, they'd given me some fluids and some stuff to prevent me from having my gag reflex. Now, by the time I drove down, the ambulance took me down there. My parents drove to meet me. I kind of didn't feel better, but I was able to at least breathe and walk and, all this other stuff. So it was just awful. They wheeled me in. I wanted to get out of the bed. They wouldn't let me. I saw my parents. So I go, I'm going to go over and talk to them. So I went over and talked to my parents. I was fine. I was starting to feel a little better. So I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe it's over. So an hour goes by. It wasn't busy, but it took him an hour to get to me for whatever reason. And we were talking about, oh, you look so bad. You haven't eaten in 3 days. I can't believe it. Richie, you got to call us when this happens. I go, I didn't know, throwing up. But anyway, so we take the x-rays and another hour goes by and he goes, okay. He goes, you have to be honest with me. The doctor says this. He goes, you have to be honest with me. And I know your parents are here. They've heard everything, right? It's okay. I can ask in front of them. I go, yeah. Do you do any sword swallowing or anything like that? I'm like, no, why? He goes, the x-rays, now they're in black and white, but if they were in color, it would be bruised from the top to the bottom. He goes, like bright purple, blue, and everything. He goes, this is awful. He goes, you promised me you weren't putting anything down your esophagus like a magician would? I said, no, but that is interesting. And I said, I can't believe it. My mother goes, Richie, tell the truth. I'm like, no, really, I swear to God, I don't have a blade. I don't have anything. So, I just kept thinking of what it could have been. Now, I'm having a hard time talking. And now my throat is, starting to, I don't know if it's healing or whatever, but I was starting to lose my voice from throwing up so much. And eventually I did. It was awful for a while. And my throat was sore so bad. I really couldn't eat for almost 5 days. I mean, I was taking fluids in, but eventually I got better. They gave me very strong, gag reflex type of medication. I think you can buy it at the store, get a prescription for it. But I took it, and I felt fine and eventually got better. And but to this day, my voice still doesn't sound the same. I still have issues with it. But here's the deal. So, we're trying to figure out things, right? That's what we do as researchers. So I go on my show and I talk about it. And somebody brings up, you had a spiritual attack. I go, what do you mean? You had a spiritual attack. What did you do? Because I talked about it, What happened a week ago or 2 weeks ago at this time? And I go, well, I put the cross on. Okay, stop there. Where did the cross sit on your chest? And I go, oh, right here. Oh, okay. So by your vocal cords. So you denounced the devil. Now, here's another thing I forgot to mention. Each Ouija board session I did, I never said goodbye. I never closed the door. So I didn't believe it that much anyway. Nothing was happening, right? So I'm like, all right, nothing's happening. This is a bunch of bull. But I never thought about closing the doors. So I've maybe let in a lot of stuff through the Ouija board. As many times as I did it, as angry and emotional as I was getting, to the point of forcing tears on myself, I need help, to going with my emotions, leaving it out on tape, leaving it all out on tape for future reference, which I'll eventually put on the internet. But said, yeah, it hits you where you live. What do you like to do? I go, I like to do my radio show as much as possible. And what else? I work for a living and I have to talk. Oh, my God, I may have had a spiritual attack. Yeah, you denounced the devil. You never closed the doors. What do you think happened when you put God around your neck, idiot? You caused this thing to attack you where you live. I said, oh, my God. Oh, my God, no. I go, that can't be. Well, I didn't tell anybody this, but I've had weird things happening at this place at the same time. So I start piecing things together. And I'm like, I'm seeing shadows. I'm waking up with bruises on my face, on my back. I'm bruised on my hip, on my feet. What am I doing when I'm sleeping? It's bizarre. I've had things move in the kitchen. I've had wind blown in my face. I've had my dog's bowl, his little treat bowl, move 6 inches. I got it on my camera. So things are happening. Now I'm really not knowing what's going on. All right. Did I really have a spiritual attack? So After talking to so many people, I think I did, and I don't play with Ouija boards. I don't know.
I love that story. I can never get sick of that story, man.
Sorry I took so long to take it, but there's so much that comes back to you, you know?
That's why I gave you the time.
Scary.
You know? We got about 2 minutes before we got to go to break. Chant, hearing that story for the first time, what's your thoughts?
It was fascinating to be able to have the opportunity to hear it. Thank you for telling the story.
Oh, yeah. Love telling that story.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Hey, Duck, I know you're a big Ouija board guy.
Oh, I'm a huge Ouija board guy. Karen Dolman is great with that stuff. Yeah, it's every time I hear that story, it makes me, Richie, I love you. Sometimes play these things out in your head a little bit, okay? So see where it all ends up. I mean, even if you did make the deal, even if you did make the deal with the devil, where would you be then?
I don't care. I wanted to get out of the pain I was in. That's how desperate I was.
Yet.
And I wanted to try something different.
You wanted to get out of the pain you were in. Did you just hear yourself?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that ironic?
I love
the pain I was put in. Yeah, that's crazy.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
You always close the door. Remember that. It's simple. Close the door.
I can't believe I totally forgot. And
Bad Richie. Let me tell you something, brother. You got to close that Ouija board door, brother.
Yeah, sometimes you learn the hard way. But at least I learned 127 times.
Yeah, and then they call.
How many days? What was your day? 127 days in a row.
127 sessions, not in a row. It took 10 months to do that.
Really, unbelievable.
Yeah. I was doing them,
Rich.
First 20. No, I was just saying I did a bunch at once, and then I got tired of it. Then I did more. So it wasn't all at once. It was sporadic. I'm sorry. What was that?
I just love that story. I absolutely love that story, and thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of our listeners have heard it before, but we have so many new listeners now with the 2 new terrestrial stations that are with us that I wanted to get that out. I mean, this is real stuff here, real stuff, and that's why we are doing it. Panel, you hold on, because we're going to get to hour number 3 when we come back, and we're going to talk about everything from black jets to Goatman to the CIA. Are they still knocking off people? And whatever else comes up. The Paranormal Round Table with Jim Malliard, Rich Giordano, Eric Cooper, and Chant Hannah. Coming up next on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio. The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place at reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian paranormal investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. This weekend, while I am off finding my Zen and my Chi, maybe a little Sasquatch prints in the snow, Tessa Nicole Thomas is back with Spaced Out Weekend at spacedoutradio.com, starting at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN on 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone on Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club, Cocorifiophobia. Cocorifiophobia is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Go shopping while you're listening to this show at our Spaced Out Radio store. It's on our website. Click shop, pick up a t-shirt, hoodie, hats, you name it. We got it. You'd look good in it. We want to see you support this show. And, of course, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce our panel on the SOR Paranormal Round Table that happens the final Friday of every month, where we kind of kick back and talk about the month that was. Joining us tonight from the Malliard Report, Jim Malliard. From S4 and Forest Moon Paranormal, Eric Cooper. Chant Hannah joins us from UFO News Network. And rounding it out, we have Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio. Good to have everybody with us. And in this hour, we're going to start off with the CIA. I did a show back this past Monday with John Potash, author of a couple of CIA books, who believes that the CIA still has a hit list. And they go after some pretty gnarly people when it comes to the music scene, when it comes to movies, so on and so forth. Jim, do you think that after all these years, the CIA is still allegedly knocking off people that may be causing a little bit of a stir, whether it's through their music, their movies, their activism, whatever it may be?
Of course, there are people being taken out for benefits of the global mission that they have. Now, are they taking out musicians and actors and other people? Well, probably. I mean, if they're going to take out foreign diplomats and leaders and all other things, we got to believe that today's day and age that pop culture, for the lack of a better word, has just as much power, if not more, than elected officials or unelected officials, as it may be.
I'm not sure they are, Jim. I'm not sure they are. Death is such an ugly game. Wouldn't you think they learned their lesson from the whole JFK assassination?
No, because they've never been officially tied to the JFK conspiracy. That's all still conspiracy.
Well, I realize that, but I don't know. I'm just a lonely Canadian up here in the frozen tundra, man. That's all I am. Just learning. Rich Giordano, let's get your opinion on that. You think there's still something sinister behind some sort of hit squad?
Yeah, man, of course. It wouldn't be cool. No, they really, I really do though think that the scare tactics to death tactics are in full swing. I don't think it happens as much, but I mean, I still think though they're giving people a little more slack, I think, because if it's getting out on the internet or however they're doing their, thing, trying to get the word out, whatever, I think to a certain limit. Why didn't they go after Eric Dubé then with this flat earth thing? Well, because flat earth is so ridiculous, nobody really believes it anyway in the masses. But what if it got 70-30? I mean, could there be something to that? I don't understand why flat earth would be so important over a ball, but that's why I don't think it works. But yeah, I think that there's certain things we will never find out about that are being handled in such a way.
Very cool. Very cool. Hey, before we continue on, I got to give a shout out right now on Twitter to George and Floyd's Country Kitchen, because they listen to the show all the way out there in Pennsylvania where you are, Duck. And they're like, dude, we know you have a hot sauce fetish. We want to send you a couple bottles of hot sauce. So I have done that. George and Floyd's Country Kitchen. I'm very much looking forward to this hot sauce.
Oh, cool.
I love the hot wings. I put hot sauce literally on everything. I really do. So I hope, let me feel the burn, man. Let me feel the burn. That's what I want. I want to feel the burn. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Moving on here. Chant, with everything that goes on, whether it's UFOs, whether it's activism, whatever it may be, do you believe that there is still something sinister regarding the alphabet groups trying to knock off people?
Well, the CIA has a reputation for having worldwide kill squads. I think they should. One person I think they should knock off is Kim Jong-un.
Oh, come on. How do you knock off that hairdo? How do you knock off that hairdo?
I don't think it's any secret that they wouldn't. I'm just making a guess on millions of people's world points of view around the world on this. But he's not doing us any good on this planet. And if they knocked him off, they would be doing us a favor. I also think that they would be the kill squad behind that. Whether it be they contract killers to do that or they do it themselves, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they were behind trying to kill people who shouldn't be knocked off. I would never say this about anybody other than Kim Jong-un, but Julian Assange, people like that, where they leak information to the press about information that is considered highly confidential and not proper for anybody to know about. And then also the CIA, they've been known around the world for human rights violations, and it's the torture that they've been known to commit. That's also something of interest. I think a good question to ask is, does the CIA have the right to kill people? I don't know, but they're not going to stop doing it. I think they've done it historically for a long period of time, and those kind of moral standards they go by are not the same that we might go by.
Eric Cooper.
As much as I despise the CIA, they're the only agency that's not in Homeland Security out of all the other alphabet agencies that are involved with terrorist investigation, disaster response, that kind of thing. But CIA is the only intelligence agency that's not. Do they still have a hit list? Maybe. I don't think so. I think they've advanced with technology. They have better and easier means to discredit people today than just going off and knocking them off. Knocking people off is too risky. As far as exposure, as far as you take out a big name, you've got more eyes on that. So I think, going back to the planting child porn on a computer, taking degrees away and making them look like a fool is easier and less messy than just knocking them off.
I would agree with you.
That's where I'd stand on.
I would agree with you there. You know, maybe I'm just way too naive about the topic, but I would hope that it's not happening. You know, I would really hope that there is nothing sinister about it going on. Do I have any proof? No, I don't. I mean, there's enough stories out there where I think it can be questioned. However, I don't know if we're actually if it's actually happening anymore or not. And you know, is it happening to famous people? I don't know. I really don't. It's hard for me to believe.
I still, you know, when it comes to the Kurt Cobain story, I'm only an hour from Seattle. Kurt Cobain was a big fan. I don't like Courtney Love. I don't like Hole. I still blame Courtney Love. Was she a CIA operative? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You know, did the CIA convince her to do it? No. She's not. Well, I'm not going to go a low blow. She's not smart enough, though. But no, she was jealous. You know, Kurt Cobain loved music. He got into it for the right reason. He got like many of them in the music industry. They got into the drug scene, and it went downhill from there. He found the popularity of it was too much for him, and there you go. I do think Courtney Love had something to do with it, but to the CIA, no. You've got bigger activists out today than Kurt Cobain ever would have been, and higher targets.
Well, you know what? So, it's something that we will see, and hopefully, like I said, it isn't happening or anything like that. We're going to switch topics here in regards to haunted areas, haunted tours, because spring is right around the corner for a lot of people out there, and we're getting into haunted tourism season, where a lot of museums, a lot of facilities that are now closed. Oh, what was that? Somebody sneeze or something there?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, geez. You know, Gesundheit. But we're getting into that season where there's a lot of haunted tourism that's about to come on. And there's a lot of people in the paranormal who love these tours. They love going on them. They love investigating them. Then there is the faction out there that doesn't want anything to do with it because of the fact that we shouldn't be trying to make money off of things like this. Now, to preface this, up in my area, I do run a haunted tour. I have no problem with it. I donate the money back to the museum, which is a non-profit society, and we raise a few $1,000s every year that goes to help with the upkeep of the entire facility. So, Jim, I want to start with you on this one. Are you someone who is an advocate for this type of tourism to help raise money for these facilities, or do you think that paranormal tourism is just something that should maybe go by the wayside?
Well, Dave, it was interesting because there was a time that I thought it was just all horrible and all just junk. But now it's like when you're giving it back to somebody, I think that's appropriate. Now, if you were out there just charging $250 a ticket and paying yourself, that's where I start to have a problem with it because, yeah, I understand that your time is valuable, but are you really worth $50 an hour to walk around in the dark and kind of guide people? I don't know that anybody is, not just you, but so that's kind of my problem. I mean, I understand, yeah, paying your expenses and then doing some other stuff, but if it just becomes straight profit, that's where my issue becomes. When it becomes just taking money to take money and not doing any positive outreach with it whatsoever.
Eric, you're very involved with the paranormal. What's your thoughts?
I think if it's done right, and again, you know where I stand with when you're doing a paranormal tour or a ghost tour, as long as there's protection in place, you don't want the public going into a risky situation and coming out with an attachment or a spirit attack or anything of that nature. We actually might be doing a ghost tour as far as Paracon goes either this year or maybe next. So we're looking at it. I think, some of the historical sites that do it to fund their historical site, like what you guys do with the museum, is fine. But again, as long as the public is aware of the risk, which a lot of them don't, and as long as there's protection in place to keep the public from, getting the attachments and things like that, and also having an understanding with the spirits that might be present in the location, like what you guys did with Willie.
Right. Right. I have no problem with the tours. I really don't, if they're done for the right reason. Right. If you're raising money for something, and a lot of these facilities, that's how they are able to keep the lights on. That's how they are able to keep things going. And I know with our museum being a nonprofit, that money goes to good usage because we've been able to help raise money for the replacement of roofs on the old buildings that are over 150 years old, and we're able to do that. In regards to the paranormal tourism aspect of it, Chant, your thoughts on the fact that a lot of people are doing this to raise revenue to keep these historic places going, because let's face it, you have to, a lot of people aren't attending museums these days.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think because there's kind-hearted, caring people like yourself who happen to care about the community they live in, having the ability to share and impart your knowledge to people about the history of a certain building of historical significance to keep it going is really important. Giving back to the community in that way. But there is a dark aspect to the topic we're talking about. For example, there's no PhD to ghost hunting, right? There's various levels of, there's various degrees of ghost hunting. There's people who are called experts and rank amateurs. I don't know how one determines that, but it helps if you know the history of the area. That's probably one thing. I know you're more expert on what I'm talking about than myself here, by the way, Dave. But I'm just guessing. I think a lot of these tour guides, it's a hobby for them that they take very seriously. And I certainly hope that they understand that the public are very wide-eyed about it, and sometimes people will believe anything you say, so it's really important to make sure that you share things in the most balanced way possible, whatever that means.
And how about you, Rich?
You have to ask me the question again.
In regards to paranormal tourism, since we're getting into that type of season again.
Is it good or bad? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Do you support it? Do you like that idea?
I love it. Oh, my God. Well, I'm going to be doing some, too. Yeah, of course. I definitely love it. I think well, when I used to do them, the UFO, and every now and then, we'd do a ghost hunt, we didn't charge anybody. I don't know if that should be happening. I don't know. Everybody's got different things going on. Maybe these people have a reputation. They can clean a house. And what was that? Oh, I thought somebody said something. I don't think if you're cleaning a house and really cleaning it and doing the right thing and you charge somebody whatever it is, if they're comfortable giving that to you, I don't know if there's anything wrong with that, because it does cost money to drive out there, And I know there's people out there who take advantage of it. That's what I hate. And I hate hearing those stories. And we'll hear them every year forever now, because everybody wants to get that footage or fake footage. And that's another thing we have to worry about now. More of that going on. So that's going to pick up. But I don't see anything wrong with it, Dave. You do that, right?
Yeah, I do it. We try and make everything safe. Right. But I also make it very well known that every dollar that we collect from the people goes right to the museum. And afterwards,
that's right.
And afterwards, I go knock on the. Yeah.
Could I address Trippin's question?
Yeah. I'm just going to bring that up. Tripp in the chat room has a question here, and he is saying, "What about tormenting the paranormal during investigations or tours?" This is a big problem that we have out there, because I think a lot of times what happens, Eric, when people go on these paranormal tours, they expect something to happen. They're almost thinking like it's a haunted house at Disneyland or at the local carnival or something along those lines, which it really isn't. And, you know, maybe for some people out there who are giving these tours, they want that shock factor. What's your thoughts?
I completely agree, and that's where the paranormal TV shows are a discredit to what we do. They understand when an earthbound spirit or a stuck spirit, they're just like when they were alive. You're invading their space, going in there and instigating and provoking. Whether it's a paranormal tour or us going into a client's home, same thing. It's disrespecting the spirit and is uncalled for. And, and that is a problem. That's a problem more on private cases than it is, I think, depending on who's running the tour. If they're running the tour right, they've got an understanding and an agreement with the spirits that reside in that location. And just like I was, mentioning Willie with you, you guys have an understanding with Willie. And that's fine. But when we go into, I can't emphasize enough how many times we have to go clean up after another team because they go in and they provoke. And it's always an earthbound spirit that you're provoking. You could be provoking a malevolent entity. Now your client's stuck with it. So, that is an issue.
That's a big issue. That is a big issue that we see in everything. Now, we got about 2 minutes left. Jim, I want to ask you that same question in regards to paranormal tourism. We do have to be careful. We are touring around a bunch of people who have no history, for the most part, with anything unique like the paranormal. And to try and provoke and get something to happen, I mean, that's where I think it would be crossing the line. Do you not think that, or do you think differently?
Oh, yeah. Provoking is a no-go in my book across the board because I seriously wouldn't want to go in somebody's house and start yelling and screaming like an idiot just because I'm trying to get out of a rise out of a ghost, or the only thing it's going to do is upset the ghost. So why would you do it on a public tour to try to – I mean, I'm just across the board. Go in, calm, be level. What you get's what you get. There's no point in trying to – and I don't know if you're actually getting anything besides people whispering, "What's wrong with this idiot?" if you're provoking on a public tour, but that's my opinion.
Chant, your thoughts?
Yeah, it sounds dangerous to do. I don't think it's a good idea to provoke anything. I generally try not to do that unless I'm trying to interview somebody and provoke them into answering a question. But I don't know much about the paranormal world. I wish I could share more information about it, but I think I'm outranked by everybody here because you all are more expert on that subject than I am.
Well, you know what? It is something that we do have to check out. Rich, you get the final word on it. We got about 30 seconds.
Dave, I'm going to have... Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Give it somebody... I was muted. Something happened to my dog, so I can't talk about it really right now. Yeah,
that's all right. You know what? We got a break coming up here, Rich. We'll give you the time off here for a few minutes here. We got Rich Giordano. We have Jim Malliard, Eric Cooper, Chant Hannah with us. The SOR Paranormal Round Table goes for another 30 minutes here on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned as our panel continues on the final Friday of the month.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We've rounded third. We are heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters in the midst of the frozen Canadian tundra. Remember, if you want to support this show, a good way to do it is by going to our website, spacedoutradio.com, heading over to our store, where you can click on shop on our website, pick up yourself a t-shirt, a hat, hoodie, coffee mug, you name it, we got it. It's a good way to support this show and your love for it, and we definitely want a picture of you using it as well. So that way, we have a collection of our great fans who are hanging out with us with our swag on. Always looks good. We got the final time we're going to introduce our Paranormal Round Table tonight. The SOR Paranormal Round Table happens the final Friday of every month. Tonight we are talking with Rich Giordano from GUFON Radio, from UFO News Network, Chant Hannah, Jim Malliard from the Malliard Report, and, of course, from Forest Moon Paranormal, we got Eric Cooper. Panel, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Always.
Looking up in the skies for UFOs, or the sky, pardon me, because there is only one sky, and I better get that out before Giordano goes crazy on it. Exactly. It is his pet peeve when it comes down to it. But when it comes to looking up in the sky and looking for UFOs, Rich, I want to start with you on this one because I think it's important. You've done enough research over the last 15, 20 years on filming UFOs and seeing anomalous craft in the sky. How does one tell whether or not they are looking at a UFO or something that is made on the ground here?
It's so hard because all the stuff I've captured, you really can't make it all out. It's still even fuzzy, as clear as it gets. It always seems that way. So it puts a lot of stuff into doubt. Even if you think your whatever is a UFO, it could be something mundane that you've never seen before. Make that shape. Maybe balloons, there's all different shapes. It's hard to tell, though, unless you actually get the original copy of whatever it is, whatever camera. This way you can test the settings and ask them, all right, what settings was it on? Then it's the only way you would know. And if you can't get that evidence, then it has to go into the really don't know, don't believe section. Want to believe, don't know, that kind of section. Because the military, how are you going to know? Unless you're in the know. So you really don't know. You can only assume that because it looks like something man would fly, that would be one of ours. What are we making copies of something we've seen and captured or something that crashed? Very hard to tell. It's almost impossible, I think. So unless you're in the know and know somebody who can get you what you need and the stuff that is behind closed doors and locked safes, there's no way you're going to be able to get it and analyze it and know for sure. That's what I hate when people say this is definitely a military craft. Well, you can see, it did this and it did that. Not something, couldn't have been done years ago, but can be done now. But I haven't seen anything like that. There's been a couple of videos that came out, the Utah UFO one. People think this object's going 13,000 miles an hour, 18,000 miles an hour, but I think it's fake. But nobody's asking this guy to make a duplicate copy, go out there and redo it. If this is supposed to be the evidence that is real, why aren't they going out there and doing it again? Well, then 3 weeks later, a video comes out from Spain, almost identical, but just a different angle, same type of turn. So there's all this we got to play and put into effect at the same time. We're trying to figure out if that's a UFO, man-made, or a hoax. And you're never really going to know the answer. It's very difficult, unless you're MUFON and you have the backing of the military or government, whatever. They can get out there, or somebody can. Elizondo, who knows? It's just hard.
Eric Cooper, your team has dealt with a lot of UFO activity. You have a great crack team that is always keeping their eyes up to the sky, trying to figure out what is going on and making sure that if a report comes in that in your area, that to see if they can see it or the direction it is, and sometimes they actually have. Are you able, with your team, to tell the difference between, because you do have former military members on your team and you're ex-military as well, are you able to tell the difference between a man-made craft and what you think is a UFO? If so, what are the signs?
Well, what's a UFO? A UFO is simply an unidentified flying object. But to be honest with you, it's hard to differentiate. If it's zigzagging, if it's making 90-degree angles, and it could be either or. I always refer back to the craft that we saw going over Syria from Iraq, and when I've got aircraft crew chiefs and mechanics that are going, it's not one of ours. It makes no noise. It's not a drone. It's process of elimination. The other thing we look at, too, is was there an abduction involved? We look at both of it. But I agree with Rich. Unless you're actually in the know, you're not going to know, because our technology advances as well. So who's to say we don't have? You figure we probably got 50 years at least advanced technology from what we hear about now. So there's no telling.
How about you, Chant? What's your thoughts? You've had some experiences. You're someone who stares up in the sky at night.
I think that there are such thing as drone specialists out there. I don't think you need to go to school for it. I think the background for that, I just want to talk about this for 1 second. Drone specialist background could be having been in the military or having worked in an area where you work in the aviation industry. Problem with some of these UFO sightings and the quality of the reports are drones. It creates really sketchy quality of data regarding compiling information on these UFO sightings. So the moment that drones were created for the public, which I'm sure that the military sector had them for probably decades before we ever did. Anyway, once they hit the mass market, well, then there was a spike in UFO sightings. And I think the Huffington Post did a great article on that. But anyway, as far as drone possibilities, it's endless. And I think it's hard to actually differentiate between a possible extraterrestrial craft in the sky, which is it's possible to see that. I'm sure it could be rare. But anyway, it depends on what part of the world you're in. But anyway, just to move on, also depends on the area where if there's a lot of drones in the area. You were talking earlier about cycles. Well, there's a cycle regarding people buying drones. During Christmas time, think about it. There's a lot of UFO sightings during that period of time because kids get a lot of drones for Christmas.
Yeah, the drone thing is, I think, been a lot of hype because with the altitude that they have and how small they are, you put a little light on it, a lot of people aren't going to be able to tell at times. I mean, for a lot of people, it'll be obvious, but there's going to be some out there who believe that if you get that drone up high enough, that it is something strange and anomalous flying over. And I could see where that's going to happen, especially if you can't hear the wind blades swirling around. So, yeah. I mean, that is something that we all have to take into account. And it's not just like Chinese lanterns either that people are lighting as well. But there's a big confusion, like when it comes to the black triangles. Are they ours? Are they the TR-3Bs that people in the UFO community are claiming they are, Jim? Or are they something more anomalous?
Well, black triangles, man, you just hit me with something I know little to nothing about. But that sounds like the shape of a plane to me. Sounds something as we're trying to advance to the F whatever it is anymore. 34, 38, I don't know. I haven't kept up on that stuff. So triangles make, like, anytime something, well, it used to be anytime something round appeared, but now we're talking drones and that's kind of the shape they take. So I don't know where we're going to end up with that. But I just wanted to, for the record, I'm pro skies when it comes to comments like this because I'm thinking about looking in the eastern sky or the western sky. So as you look up at the skies, you see things. So that's my explanation of why we got a plural skies going on.
How come we don't get any more just saucer-like craft anymore? It's always a cigar shape. It's always a square. It's always a rectangle. It's always a triangle. We never get any classic saucers anymore. It's very rare that we see that. Eric, bringing you in here on that, is it just the way that people are paying more attention, or do you think, much like the military, maybe the classic saucer triangle or saucer aircraft are just obsolete, and the UFO community and the aliens have traded them in?
No, actually, I like this question because there are several reasons. One, we have more races visiting us right now that are showing themselves. I firmly believe that because each race has their own craft type, obviously, their own technology. Some of them are feeding off volcanoes, which is, even here at Mount Baker, we have, ever since I was a child, even, there was talk about the mothership over the mountain. And what intrigues me, though, is why do they need lights? I think the whole light factor, to be honest, is some of them show themselves intentionally, because the government sure won't. But you still do that. You still have the saucer craft. You have the cigar craft. You have the egg-shaped craft. You have, and each one is a different race. Some of them have multiple races that use the same style craft. But I agree. And if you look at the 40s and 50s, when they had, when they first started talking about the flying saucers among us, and science fiction and comic books, and they all portrayed the same disc-shaped craft. But I don't think as many races back then were willing to show themselves like they do now. I think the other aspect with that is more people are outside, more people are, with technology, everyone's got a camera now. So you're also going to get more pictures with the different kinds of craft.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Rich, I want to bring you in here on this one because I think it's very interesting. I've never seen, out of all the UFOs that I've seen, and I've seen quite a few, getting a little feedback on your system. Can you turn your speaker back down just a little bit, Rich, if you don't mind? Thank you. But we are not hearing a lot of reports, Rich, in regards to UFOs in the saucer shape. Why do you think that is?
Oh, they're out there. Those sightings are being reported. I also think it's cyclical, like we talked about earlier. See, that's not me, so I don't know what's going on.
Weird.
Yeah, it's not me because I wasn't even moving, and I mute myself all the time. So
that is strange.
Yeah,
Okay,
I promise
so it wasn't you. We are trying to solve that mystery. I'm going to solve.
Oh,
that
that's
mystery.
what you kept hearing? That noise?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't me. I promise. I'm a professional.
And here I thought it was your goatee that was rubbing against your microphone or something.
No, not anymore.
That's weird. I don't know what that noise is, honestly.
I don't
Maybe
know,
it's
but somebody's having a candy bar.
Our show's getting abducted.
It sounds like somebody's beard is getting in, or mustache, whatever, is getting into their mic. That's what
it's not me.
Well, we should hope. Rich, I want to ask you a secondary question. Have you ever seen a UFO create a contrail?
No, not personally. And
Have you heard about them?
Yeah, I've heard of them. Some of them, it's just the angle of the airplane and depending where the sun is in the sky, usually sunrise or sunset, it's giving the illusion there's no wings, and you just see this tube, So it's all on angles and lighting and time of day. But I've seen the videos where looks like a disc leaving contrails, but it left 2 contrails. So I think it's just another trick of light. So, yeah, I've never seen him personally.
Mrs. SOR and I saw one that was very strange, and we were standing on our patio. It was a sunny summer night. It was going into the evening. The sun was starting to set later on in the summer. It was around August. This was been around 2013, 2014. And the flight lines for Vancouver, if you were flying into Vancouver, you went in north of us, and if you were flying out of Vancouver, it came south of us. So we were kind of like right in the middle, and that was going east to west. And we watched this one craft come from northeast to southwest, and it was beelining it, like flying at the speed of a jet fighter would. Not an airliner, but a jet fighter. But the interesting part about that was the contrail that it brought. Now, I'm not saying chemtrail, I'm saying contrail. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I remember about that is there was no sound. Like normally, if you got an aircraft up at altitude, even if it's at 37,000 feet or higher, you hear the aircraft. And there was nothing. Nothing coming out. And I believe there was like 3 or 4 of us on our patio that watched this. And it was just very intriguing because I asked everybody, do you hear any jet sound? And my wife, she would know, okay? And how she would know is her father was an airline pilot for 25 years, and he'd been a pilot for 50 years. She's been around airplanes her entire life. She knows what an airplane sounds like, and she was even blown away that there was no sound coming out from behind this contrail, because with the jet, if it was a jet and the jet is heading south, we would have heard it. You know what I'm saying? We would have heard it.
How high was it, you think?
I don't know. I really don't know.
But there was a contrail.
There was, this contrail went on forever. Like, I only lived about 10 miles from the Canada-Washington state border. And it was in the U.S. in no time. Absolutely no time. Wow. But it looked like, if you describe what it looks like, I mean, it was tiny. Like I said, it looked like a jet fighter. When you got the distance on a jet fighter, it looks like a little orb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't look like much. Whereas an airliner, if it's way up, if you got a 737 or a 747, you could see the details of the wings and everything like that at, say, 35,000 feet. But this one, you couldn't see a darn thing. It was very, very strange.
That's wild. Yeah, as fast as it was going, yeah. That's weird. You didn't hear anything.
Yeah, very strange. Chant, cool. I want to get your thoughts on this.
Well, first I wanted to mention, I'm glad you mentioned black triangles, because there was a Belgian UFO wave incident that was reported from I think it was 1989 to 1990, and many people claim to have witnessed black triangles throughout that period of time, many of them, and then wanted to move on to the UFO culture regarding, round saucer-shaped unidentified objects. I think I don't remember who mentioned it, but whoever said that the comic book, science fiction, movies was absolutely right. 1940s is when the UFO culture began. And in 1950s, we definitely heard about round saucer-shaped objects. Then we move on to Close Encounters, the movie, and they were round in that movie. Also would like to mention Billy Meyer, although I personally believe the pictures are junk. Still, that created yet another cycle of people talking about round-shaped saucer objects.
Yes.
And so that was a big deal when Billy Meyer came out with those alleged UFO, let's just say extraterrestrial crafts that he saw. We saw a bunch of round extraterrestrial craft shaped objects in his pictures. And that kind of, that led to a huge discussion of that type of shaped object. But now we are definitely getting reports that are much different regarding the shape of these objects, such as being a blimp, a cone, a cylinder, an egg, a teardrop, a chevron. Also regarding the contrail, I think you're right. There's been lots of reports, too many to even, probably hundreds of thousands, reports of no sound being made, but there's still, you could tell, the witness would say they gave off heat or some kind of
and Chant,
light.
I gotta wrap it up right there because we got to wrap up this show. Chant Hannah, Rich Giordano, Jim Malliard, Eric Cooper, the SOR Paranormal Round Table. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. This weekend, while I'm off getting my Zen and my Chi, Tessa Nicole Thomas is in for Spaced Out Weekend starting at 9 o'clock Pacific, midnight Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to each and every one of you participating this week in the chat rooms on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures. Thank you so much for being here with us this week, everyone. We love you because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours. Actually, not that. Tessa will. I'll talk to you on Monday. See you later. Have a great weekend.